The number one reason why people quit dropshipping is not because they're not getting any sales, but it's because they're not profitable. So the big question in dropshipping is, how do I make my sales profitable and make my store profitable? In this video, I'm gonna give you all the answers and my strategies and my tactics to make my revenue go from unprofitable or break even to super profitable. And just so you know that I'm not bullshitting you and you can actually trust what I'm saying, my name is Rasmus Steenberg. I started dropshipping back in August of 2022. I have just hit $11 million in sales, and I've been doing dropshipping full time and living up my own business for around a year and a half now to actually prove that I'm not only doing very high revenue, but it's actually super profitable as well. Let's just get started with the video. The first way to become profitable is simply by creating better ads or creatives. But this is so much easier said than done. There's a few ways I can recommend to get better at actually creating your creatives. The first one is to get in touch with somebody who's been doing it longer than you and has more knowledge than you in general with creatives. This is because there's always something about your ads that can be done differently, better, and make your ad better in general. When you are the only one sitting and editing your videos, it's very hard to spot even the most minor mistakes because it's very easy just to go blind in the process. Take me for example. My ads now are being reviewed by a massive marketing agency who's reviewing my ads from start to finish, optimizing every single second of the creative for all my stores. Is this cheap? No, it's not. It's very expensive, but it's so profitable for me because it makes my skills better and the creatives better in general, making me more money right now, but also more money in the long run. But in case you don't have anyone to review your ads, in case you're not in a mentorship, a community, or have access to people in general who is better than you, I would do it this way. So basically create a few different variations of your creatives, put them onto Facebook. And why Facebook is one of the best tools out there for advertising is that Facebook gives you the actual metrics of your creative. Facebook will literally tell you if your creative sucks or if it's good. Of course, it's not always true. You cannot always fully rely on the metrics, but it gives you a really good idea on what you need to change. For example, say you put your ad on Facebook and you have a very low hook rate. Basically the first 3 seconds of your video. This means that your scroll stopper may suck. So you can try and change the scroll stopper of the creative and see if it improves the hook rate. It could also be that you have a very low click-through rate percentage and a very high CPC. This could mean that your call to action is very weak. So you could try out a different call to action to see if it will bring more people to the website. You can even try and add a guarantee or make like more urgency in your call to action and see if that lowers the CPC and increases your click-through rate of your ad. It could also be that you have a very high drop-off. So for example, in the middle of the video, everybody just scrolls on because they are bored. So this either means that the audience who sees the creative does not resonate with the script and the angle that you're targeting, or that your B-roll and video doesn't align with the script that you're running. So those are two things you can change and try out differently and see how the metrics improve. This is the easiest way to try and kind of optimize for the greatest creatives on Facebook. It's just very important when you are doing these things that you create a sheet where you note down exactly what you test and exactly what the results were. Because if you don't do this, in 2-3 testers, you will have no idea where you started. You have no idea why this is working, why it's not working. You will completely have lost track every single thing that you've tested if you don't track them in a sheet. And I know some of you guys out there right now will be arrogant and say, oh, I don't have to do that. I can remember it. And I'm telling you right now, you can't, because I have done that and it was the biggest mistakes that had cost me probably over $100,000 right now in pure profit because I was too arrogant to actually track what I was changing and what I was doing. The second way to become profitable is improving the way you bundle your products and how you upsell in general. And again, I know people might think, oh, this is obvious. I always do this. I always try and do this, but it's super hard to get right. It's probably one of the hardest things to get right. And again, as I mentioned before with the creatives, it's actually easier to get it done right faster by having someone to review the store, but that's really goes hand in hand for all the points I'm gonna give you right now. And if you don't have access to this, so just keep that in mind. It's still the easiest way and still the fastest way to get results and get a better store and creators in general. But it's still, if that's not the option, the fastest way to get some quick results is trying out some high perceived value offers. So first up, what I always like to try out is a buy one, get one free. It's probably one of my favorite offers. I also sometimes have done buy one, get two free even. I would say buy one, get one free works most of the time better than buy one, get two free. I don't know why. I think it's because buy one, get two free might be too many products. It might be sounding too scammy. You can also do a very simple quantity break. So with the buy one, they get 0% discount or whatever, 30% discount. They buy two, they get an extra 10. Buy three, they get an extra 20. Buy four or whatever. But this only makes sense if it makes sense to buy multiple of the same product. If it's not a product that makes sense to buy multiple of, why would you have quantity breaks? You're very better off of structuring a different bundle. So if you have a product that's not upsellable, the most powerful thing you can do is bundle it with very cheap to source products, but has a very high perceived value for the customer. If you're selling some kind of cat product, for example, if you add on top a cat toy, an extra cat toy that has some kind of perceived value, it looks very cool, this offer will already increase your conversion so hard because it makes sense for the customer to buy it. It could also be as simple as offering the product and then having a free ebook on top of that. One of the craziest things right now that I've seen is actually if you have a product that is made in different parts. So let's say when you order a product, it's a set of 6 different products. You can advertise the main product as what you're selling, and then you get all the 5 other things for free on top. This is the most underrated way, maybe it's a little bit unethical way, but it's a smart way of displaying the offer to get a higher conversion rate. It works incredibly well, and I have not seen this fail just yet because it's the most powerful thing. Of course, it has to match with the product you're selling. It can be kind of hard to make it work. But if you have a product that fits that, it's game over. It will absolutely have an amazing conversion rate. And in terms of upsells, there's 2 different upsells you can really make. There's the pre-purchase and there's post-purchase. For the post-purchase, I always recommend trying to sell the same product again, but for a lower price of what they already pay. So let's say the main offer they pay maybe $30. I would have the post-purchase offer to be $20 because that's a $10 difference. That's massive. Most likely what's going to have the highest take rate and the highest revenue per visit on your post-purchase funnel. If that doesn't work, I would try and sell complementary products. It's a bit more tricky, a little bit more harder because people don't know the product right away. So you have to explain a little bit more why it makes sense. I would say that it should be a product that makes so much sense that people don't have to think about why it makes sense. I hope you know what I mean here. It should simply be such a good fit that people just think, oh, I actually need this for the product. It makes so much sense. That's how good the upsell product should be if you want to sell a complementary product. The third way to become profitable is optimizing your website for conversions. And by that I mean you have to optimize my favorite metric in the world, conversion rate. Now, conversion rate is kind of tricky because there's never a certain way, there will never be a template that you can just say, oh, this will make your conversion rate go up. You never know if it will make it worse or better because it's very depending on the type of product and the type of audience this product relates to. There is, of course, some kind of mandatory things on your website that needs to be there to have some kind of baseline conversion rate. To me, there's a few things. I always like to have an in-action first picture of my product. The first picture the customer sees on the website is the product in action, just like it was supposed to be used. This can either be in picture or in GIF format. The second thing, I always have a few bullet points above the fold on my landing pages. And above the fold basically means it's before they have to scroll on a phone. So whenever they land on a page, before they have to scroll, they should be able to see your 3 best selling points for your product. And of course, your high perceived value offer should also be visible right away. So if you're doing a buy one, get one free, sometimes I even put it in the title of the product with brackets like buy one, get one free. Literally just throwing the offer in their face so they can't mistake why this is a massive, massive opportunity to create a great offer for the product. But in general, the best, fastest, and easiest way to optimize your store for conversion rate is checking what the biggest guy in your niche is doing, and even look for outside inspiration on stores, dropshipping stores in general, that is performing very well. Because it's very hard to think of something new, but if you see somebody who's doing very, very well have something on the store, it makes so much sense to test it as well for your own one. But when you do this, I always recommend downloading the app Intelligence and split testing it with that. Because with Intelligence, you will have the ability to split up the URL, so it goes to your original page and then the new one you have created with the new conversion rate optimizations. And Intelligence will be able to give you accurate data, and yes, it's very accurate actually, on which of those pages has the highest conversion rate and highest revenue per visitor, which is actually the best metric to track on, because it might have a higher conversion rate, but the AOV is lower, so the revenue per visitor it gets lower as well. But if you have a higher conversion rate, same AOV as the other one, you will have better revenue per visitor and a more profitable store. However, this app I would only recommend if you're already making a sales and you have a product that's doing kind of good, it's kind of break even, or if you have a little bit more extra budget, because it is expensive. It's like $100 a month, which is actually kind of a expensive app to have in your store, but it's well worth it if you want to try and optimize your store for the better. I probably made, I don't even know how much at this point, maybe $250,000 profit from optimizing with intelligence. I probably made more, maybe $500,000 profit more, which I wouldn't have made if I hadn't used intelligence. So it's a very, very powerful tool. It's one of the best ones out there for sure. The fourth way I would recommend requires that you actually already have some sales coming in and that you're already kind of break even, a little bit unprofitable, maybe a little bit profitable even, but you can really scale your store to the next level. And that is negotiating with your supplier, trying to find new suppliers as well. This will not only make you more profitable, but it will also lower your break-even point. So when you fix other things on your store, you'll make even more money. So this is by far my favorite method of making more money when you're already making some kind of sales. That's very important to mention. You should be making sales. There's no reason to negotiate when you're not making sales anyways, because it will just negotiate to nothing, right? So only spend the time with that when you're actually making money. I also want to emphasize that you have to be careful when you're negotiating. A lot of these suppliers in China will promise you great prices, and it's very nice, but it will not tell you all the details. So if you have supplier 1, which you are already using right now, and you try to negotiate with supplier 2, they give you maybe, let's say you pay $10 with supplier 1, supplier 2 will say, oh, we can source it for $6. This sounds very good, but it doesn't really make sense that these guys are charging $4 more. This can be because supplier 2 are either using a worse factory with a worse quality product, or they're using a different shipping line, which is much cheaper, but is maybe double as slow, or they do both. So it's a worse quality product and it's a 30-day shipping. And I'm telling you right now, that will never hold in the long run. So you need to make sure whenever you're negotiating, you either negotiate on the exact same terms you have right now, so the same product and the same shipping line, or you get a very clear outline of what it is that they are changing to give you this lower price. One very important thing to also keep in mind is if you find a supplier that you have not used before, or has not been referred to you by somebody you know or have heard about, they can be a scam. It's also very common for suppliers to be a scam, and everything will look perfectly fine. They can upload tracking numbers, they can show you the products, some pictures of the factory, but when it comes to shipping out your orders, they might just fuck you over. And I've heard multiple people having this happen to them. I know one guy who got scammed for $30,000. Now that's a lot of money, because it's $30,000 profit, not revenue, it's profit. That's not a lot of money you can scam from. Also, you have to refund the customers or get it sourced from somewhere else, paying double for the cost of goods. It's very important to keep in mind when negotiating, but it is still the most powerful way of making you even more profitable when you are already a little bit profitable. The fifth way I want to speak about how you can increase profitability is for a little bit more established brands and brands that are actually already making money, but is not taking this into consideration and really undermining this thing, because nobody's speaking about it. You will never find a YouTube video talking about this exact point, because 99% of the gurus have never even been at this point. But that is literally as simple as improving the customer experience. You might ask me right now, oh Rasmus, how is improving the customer experience making me more profitable? It might actually make me more unprofitable, because I'm having to increase my cost of goods. I have to maybe get better quality product or better shipping, but improving the customer experience literally translates into a higher returning customer rate. And that is very profitable. This is also a way of improving your lifetime value of the customer. This is a little bit more advanced, so sorry to all the beginners out there. But it's a very important metric to take into consideration whenever you are scaling up your brand, is calculating the LTV of the customer, the lifetime value of them. Because a customer might not only buy once, because if you have a product that makes sense to buy maybe a product year one, but they might also need, like if it's a consumable product, like a skincare, whatever, shampoo, they come and buy month after month after month after month if they have good experiences. Because if they don't have a good experience, they'll never return to your store. They'll find somewhere else to buy it. So having a good customer experience makes you more bottom line profit in the long run. But of course, this is a very long-term plan because it may cost some upfront profits, may lower your profit margin right now. But in the long run, I guarantee you having a good customer experience will make you much more money than having a worse one. Number 6, and I also think this is very underrated. I don't think enough people are talking about it, or they are talking about it, but they're giving it such bad context because they have no idea what they're talking about. And this is for most gurus out there. They talk about this subject, but they have no idea what it actually means. And it is email marketing. And again, I'm very sorry to all the beginners out there. This is not really for you. You can't really use this. It's again for brands that are scaling up or are scaled up and as established brands. Email marketing is one of the most important resources that you have. I also just want to emphasize before I explain this why it's not important for beginners to focus on email marketing. First off, when you're creating your store and you just launched your domain and it's brand new and you got a custom email, all your emails go to the spam folder. It doesn't really matter. The customers won't receive it anyways. They won't see it because it takes time to warm up your custom domain for the email to go straight to the inbox. Most gurus won't tell you this because they have no idea that it actually is true that they have to warm up the domain. That's the fact of the reality. You have to warm it up before it goes straight to the inbox. Second off, it's not going to make such a massive difference of having your campaigns and abandonment flows if you have no traffic to a website. It's literally depending on the money you make and the sales you get. That's where you're going to make the money from the email marketing. So not beginner friendly, only for brands that are scaling up, has been scaled up, it always as established brand. And to all the established brands out there, the people who are making money right now, by email marketing, I mean all the flows such as abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, browse abandonment, pop-up on the website, welcome flows, thank you flows. All these flows very important to have in the store. But not only that, campaigns is so underrated. If you have a very good customer list, if you have maybe a few thousand purchases, having these sales campaigns can be such a powerful tool if people had a good customer experience the first time they ordered from your website. If people had that and you come in their email with a good offer, what are the chances they're gonna buy? It's very, very high. And why is these sales so profitable? Because you already paid for the customer. You need to understand on Facebook, the metric you're literally tracking is cost per acquisition. What is the cost of acquiring a new customer on your website? So you already paid that. So when they buy on your email marketing, it's literally only profit and cost of goods. There's no paid social in this because you already got the customer. That's why email marketing is the most insane thing to bring all your other marketing channels to a more efficient level, because you can understand that if you can spend to acquire a customer this amount, but you know they will return and buy for this amount, you can actually spend a higher amount to acquire the customer, which is so underrated and nobody's talking about it because nobody is understanding it. It's literally only the most massive brands that understands this concept of email marketing. So what I would recommend you, if you have a brand and if you have a store that's running up right now, get an agency, get some people to do your emails for them. You can text me on Instagram. I'll send you whoever does mine. I have 2 people right now trying to test out who is the best one. Kind of right now have the same results. But I'm telling you, I have made hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue from email marketing. It's the most powerful tool out there when you're scaling up your store. So it's very mandatory for high scale brands. Of course, these few things aren't all the things, all the tricks to become profitable, but it's some of the more direct ways where you can manipulate the profit margin of your websites to make your store more profitable. I hope you learned something from watching this video. If you are a complete beginner or even advanced person, these are my tips and tricks for you. And of course, remember, I believe in you and good luck.